Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and anyone anywhere above or in between. My name is Virginia, and welcome to my channel. So today I am doing something a little bit different, as you can obviously tell from the title. I'm not doing a historic build necessarily, or really at all, I guess. I am doing something of my own design that is a base game build in 3 different styles. So I'm using the same shell for each of the little builds, and I am kind of styling them in 3 different ways. So you'll see it coming along as we go. I am making all of these starter homes, so they are affordable if you're just starting out the game, and they are single bedroom builds, and they all have the same floor layout. So they're pretty similar, but the styling of each of them is very different. And I kind of wanted to just do this to highlight that I know some of us don't have all of the packs, myself included. I definitely have more now than I used to have, but I still don't have every single one. And sometimes it can be a little frustrating when you go onto the gallery and you find a build you really like, only to find out that they use literally every pack available. And you're like, well, I mean, I could download this, but it's not really going to look the way that it does in the gallery because half the stuff's going to be gone. So I know that frustration, and I wanted to do something to show the variety that is available in the base game. I'm going to be doing kind of a series of like limited pack builds. So I really want to do a bunch of builds that just use one expansion pack specifically. I don't own all of the game packs and stuff packs. In fact, I only own a couple. But I do have all of the expansion packs now. So I really just wanted to do a bunch of builds. One, that's base game and, get to work, or one that's base game and get famous, or whatever. And, again, just to kind of highlight variety and what you're able to do in the different builds. So obviously, as you can see from this first build that we're doing here, this is a pretty, traditional house. I don't know if you would, like, contemporary American, but contemporary makes it sound like it's modern, and this is definitely not modern. It's more of a classic, I don't know, maybe somewhat inspired by, like, a colonial cottage kind of architecture. Basically something that you would see in the base game as is, just hanging out in Willow Creek, not really standing out too much. So if you're playing, a starter sim that's going to start their family, they just, want to live their lives and not do anything crazy, I guess this would be a good starter home for them. Or for a crazy sim that, then you can kit it out and make it look really crazy. It's up to you. But anyway, I just kind of did it a basic blue and basic landscaping. I don't know if anyone else has noticed this, but when I'm doing builds now, I never really noticed it happening previous to like 2 updates ago, that now the terrain tool really doesn't want to color under objects as easily anymore. It's like it gets hindered by the actual mapping of the objects, like the trees or the grass or whatever you're trying to color under. And now, I don't know, like it hesitates and kind of jumps around when I'm trying to do terrain paint under a tree or something. I don't know if anyone else has noticed that. If you have, let's just say yay, shout out, I know your pain. But anyway, I just wanted to point that out, as you can kind of see me throughout this build as I'm changing the landscaping and stuff, that I do have an issue with like terrain painting and getting it to go where I want it to go. But anyway, I blame the game, not myself, per usual. Excuse me, I am coughing and stuff. And that's one of the reasons I haven't uploaded a video sooner than this. One, the holidays came around and, you have to do family things. But also, I got really sick, so if I sound sick, it's because I am. So I'll try to keep the coughing and sniffling and all that to a minimum and edit out what I can. But just to preface and let you know that things are a little ill in the Virginia household reality life. So with this particular kind of just normal, traditional American build, I wanted to keep things pretty, neutral. Anyone could kind of live here. And so I use a lot of light colors, a lot of pastels, all that kind of good stuff. Okay. So I recently deleted all of my mods. You can kind of see me fighting with it right here. I deleted all of my mods. I do that occasionally. I just kind of like clean house and then I start fresh just because I get bogged down with a lot of CC. I don't use CC in any of my builds, but I use a lot in my actual like Sims for like hair and clothes and stuff like that. But anyway, I deleted everything, and I deleted that red shelf that you can get to help you kind of place objects at different heights. So you saw me earlier fighting with that side table because I shrunk the side table down, because let's be real, those side tables are like comically large, along with like the, half of the coffee tables and stuff. Like, nobody's actual furniture is that big, guys. But anyway, I deleted that accidentally, and I keep meaning to go and re-download it, but I keep forgetting because I have a terrible memory, and that is the truth. Yeah, so anyway, shrinking down side tables makes life really difficult. And here I am. I decided to stick with some, pretty traditional, normal lighting in this house. I did start to get a little modern with it, but then I realized that I was going to be doing a build that was much more modern after this, so I did a little takesies backsies there. Again, these are all placed in Willow Creek, so it's just a base game location, and, really easy to buy, easy to afford, and yet you can still have a cute little starter home. This house would obviously be pretty easy to expand upon. You can add bedrooms as your sim gets richer, or as you ka-ching or motherload your life away. But it's a good place to start. This, I will say, even though obviously I am designing this, I decided that they, were on somewhere on the LGBTQ spectrum because I just wanted them to be that way. 99% of my sims are not heteronormative. That is the truth. In my own gameplay, I don't know why, even if I start like I'm air quoting here, a normal, a, regular hetero couple who have their baby, one of their children always ends up gay. That's just, them's the ropes, kids. That's how it works. As a queer woman myself, that's my version of representation. So anyway, here we go. So we're starting on the second build. As you can see, I have the shell. I uploaded it just like the other one, starting from square one, and I am doing a more modern take on it now. This would probably fit in a little better in, say, was it Oasis Springs, with their, like, more modern-y take on buildings there, but I'm just using the same lot for all of these builds. So I actually really do enjoy doing modern builds. I wouldn't say that I was the best at them, but I definitely have a lot of fun with them. I think one of the coolest things about modern builds is that no matter if you kind of screw up, if you just make it look purposeful, then you're good. Like, you're good to go. And, mess ups are life's little, they just keep life exciting. Who was it? Bob Ross said that, they're happy accidents. And that's exactly what happens in modern builds. You have these little happy accidents and you're like, you know what? I'm living for it. It's art, right? This building is supposed to be art. So all of the mistakes are meant to be there. Now, one thing you will see is that I constantly am kind of opening up the tab to, upload the build, to the gallery. You click the little file button up at the top. And I double check to see what it looks like from, like, a download perspective, because I like to kind of focus a little bit on curb appeal. How does it actually look in the gallery? Will it look nice? And that also helps me with landscaping and stuff like that, because you'll see sometimes in the gallery, I know I even have a couple where there are so many trees around the build that you can't actually see them when you look at them in the gallery. And you're like, yeah, this is a cool build, but I don't actually know what's inside it. So that's kind of how I gauge whether or not I like the full look of the outside of a build, is by clicking on the, download to gallery button and then seeing how it looks from there. So, it's just curb appeal. Curb appeal. Another thing that I really like about modern builds, well, I guess it's not another thing. It's just another example of what I said before. But, like, window placement, it can be arbitrary. Because it's art. It's supposed to be arbitrary. Like, only normies have non-arbitrary window placement. Am I right? I don't know why, but there was, like, this clipping of the paint because it's on different sections of roof. And it, was doing that kind of, like, see how it's, like, flashing all crazy between the different colors. So I had to go in, I think in one of the spots, I put in a little, like, debug object just to cover it up. But I don't know. I don't know why it does that. Anyway, I do use a lot of debug objects just to keep the cost down because, again, these are starter homes, so they are within the cost range of, an individual sim, buying this from the get-go. So it's under 20,000 simoleons. Each of these builds is under 20,000. And all of them, of course, are being uploaded to the gallery. ItsLoolyLoo is my gallery ID, just like my channel name. And yeah, you can download all 3 of these, or one of these, or none of these. You can do whatever makes you feel happy. That's what I want you to do. So in this modern build, I decided to go a little more, again, air quoting, masculine with the build. So I did browns and blacks and whites. It's a little bit neutral, but it's still a little bit earthy. I do throw in some colors, especially in the bedroom, a little bit more, but I stay pretty neutral. You could see a sim of any gender expression living here, honestly. This, again, personally not 100% my taste. I do love doing modern builds because I'm an artsy-fartsy kind of gal, but I would not live in a modern space myself. I don't know why. I mean, I guess it really kind of depends upon my mood, because I am, like, bipolar AF. And, like, some days I feel really, like, minimalist and contemporary, and then some days I feel like I want to live in an overgrown witch cottage, in the woods, and never talk to a human being, and only talk to, like, possums and raccoons. I don't know if anyone else feels like that, but, like, that's my reality. But anyway, I would say 9 times out of 10, I do not like modern for my own personal, like, life living. I would rather live in something that's a little cozier. I do like the idea of minimalism, and I definitely live, a minimalist kind of life. I don't believe in having just unnecessary stuff. I don't like, we live in a society, like, ew, capitalism, am I right? But I don't like how people feel the need to buy and consume things all the time. So I do like the idea of not having a lot of stuff around you, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I want a lot of right angles and, neutral colors. Like, you can be minimalist and still be, like, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs in your fashion choices and your design choices in general with life. So that's my philosophy. Philosophy from my mouth to your ears. And I would know, I'm a 2-time college dropout, so obviously I am a great reference for philosophy and life lessons. Alright, so we're moving into the bedroom. I think I end up throwing in some red, which at first I was like, girl, what are you thinking? But then I was like, you know what? I'm living for it. I really am. I like the contrast. I like that it's a little bit odd. I feel like whoever, the sim that lives here would be a little bit odd. Their house is art. Why shouldn't their everything else be art? Speaking of art, putting art in your sim's house is actually pretty expensive. I feel like that's where a big chunk of the money in this particular build went, was to doing, like, art and unnecessary design elements. Because that's half of, modern architecture is, like, weird, unnecessary design elements. I started to put a red rug in that bedroom, and I was like, okay, this is getting, like, a little too patriotic, because it's got, like, the blue walls and, the blue on the bedspread, and then with the blue and white and red rug, It was like very Captain America, which is fine. I love me some Captain America. He is most precious boy, but not really the feel I was going for. Oh my gosh, excuse me, I can't stop coughing. Ugh, that's the worst part about being sick. Well, being sick is awful, just in general. But when you're getting over being sick and your body is, like, expelling all of the gross, so you're coughing and, like, snotting and being just a general disgusting human being, it's like, I can't be in public right now because my whole face is leaking. But at the same time, you can't just not go in public and survive. Unless you're me. Because, you know, I'm pretty seasoned in being a recluse. I wasn't always a recluse. You know, I used to be a very social kind of gal. But I guess I got all of my socializing out in my early 20s. And now, I'm just ready for it to be me and my dog and my cat, my significant other, and the internet. That's enough for me. Alright, so this is getting pretty close to being finished here. I go in and I make some choices, and then I change my mind about those choices a couple of times. But I tried to cut out anything that was, you know, me unnecessarily putting stuff in and taking it out. You know, where it didn't really add anything to the quality or content of the video. So, but for the most part, this is pretty much just straight on until morning. Like, this was just me design, and done. So, yeah, you can see from the little gallery picture that I keep pulling up that it's looking better and better gallery-wise. So, again, these are all going to be available on the gallery to download. So there's your little modern masculine build, air quotes masculine build. And now we're getting into the last build. And this one, I wasn't 100% sure what I was going to do with it at first. I was, like, playing with the roofs for a while and doing some really weird stuff. You know, it's like, oh, maybe I should do something like Santa Fe-esque, maybe something Spanish, or something Greek. I don't know. I was, like, going all over the world in my mind. And then I started just playing with the roof. And I ended up, you know, doing this kind of peaked roof. And I was like, oh my gosh, I want to do, like, a crazy witch cottage. You know, but obviously we have Realm of Magic now. So there's a lot more, like, witchy, earthy style design elements, you know, like, put into the game through that pack. But you can still do some pretty awesome stuff without even needing that pack. So here we are. Just playing with the roof. I played with that roof a lot. I think I cut out like half of it because I was just trying to get it perfect. I probably should have cut out more in hindsight now that I'm watching this back. But oh well. So I did just recently finally download Island Living. I don't know why. Personally, I was like, I don't know if this is for me because I'm not a big ocean person. I'm terrified of the ocean. I'm terrified of the Kraken. I can't swim very well. I burn very easily. Sand is itchy. I don't like the hot weather. Like, I don't know. I'm kind of a grumpy pants, I guess. But anyway, I downloaded Island Living finally because it was on sale and it was the holidays. And I was like, I really do want to check out the pack and the world. And we'll see where we go from there. So I'd say I got that expansion maybe like 5 days ago. Girl, I have not stopped playing with the Island Living, like, everything. The cast stuff, the build stuff, in the world, like, I am a child of the ocean now, I am a child of the island, I want to live that beach life, even though, like, in IRL, I don't like the beach. I do now. The Sims made me like the beach. Like, what? I really do. I think that Island Living might be one of my favorite expansions. And I love the atmosphere of Sulani. I love the cast stuff. I love that, you know, there's a lot of diversity that's added into the game with Island Living. And yeah, I just love it. And I never saw that coming. I never saw myself as someone who would like playing Island Living because, you know, I basically, like, belong in the fjords, you know, up in, like, Scandinavia. Like, looks-wise. Yeah. But anyway, I highly suggest it for anyone who doesn't have Island Living yet. I'm definitely going to be doing a build that's like Island Living. I want to do something that's like a short series about, like, different cultural architecture styles. And, you know, I have a couple of, God, I air quote all the time. Like, if I'm not going to use a face cam, don't air quote, Virginia. Anyway, you know, when it comes to, like, not white people, not, like, European-based architecture, like, there's just different setups for houses, different setups for basic design features, and people that live in, like, North America or England, you know, or Europe or whatever, have kind of generalized assumptions of what a normal house looks like, but that's so not true. You know, that's not true throughout a big portion of the world. So I think it's interesting to try and build, like, remove all of your preconceived ideas of what a house should be and kind of, you know, experiment and build based on an entirely new set of ideals and, you know, aesthetic choices and things like that. So anyway, I really want to do a series on, you know, cool cultural builds, and island living will definitely have a role in that, because I've been doing a lot of research into, like, Polynesian, you know, like in the Pacific Islands and stuff, that style of architecture and just art and aesthetic, and it's absolutely gorgeous, and I feel kind of embarrassed that I never really knew much about it before. Look at The Sims, opening me up to new cultures. Yay! It's also kind of silly because, like, I do look pretty, like, white. But my mother is actually heavily Cherokee, and she was born in Cherokee, North Carolina. I have, you know, direct family still living on the reservation in Cherokee. My little brother is actually in Asheville, which is just outside of Cherokee right now. I guess Cherokee is technically outside of Asheville because Asheville is bigger. But, like, Cherokee was there first. So, yeah, Asheville's outside, right outside of Cherokee. But anyway, so, like, I don't just have, you know, a white family history. You know, being part Native American has been very important in my family. And, but I don't look like, you know, I just don't look it. My brothers definitely look more Native than I do. My mother obviously looks very Native. But me and my dad are just, like, we, you know, are like, hey, guys, we just popped in from milking the cows in our Norwegian-style barn. Oh, white people, am I right? Anyway, so as you can see, our witchy cottage is starting to take shape here. I personally love that the base game did the addition of these different windows and doors. I use them all the time. I think that they're really cool aesthetically, and I think that they actually have a lot of application because they have these more earthy, kind of hippie-like swatches, but then they have kind of modern-looking swatches. So they're pretty, not universal, but what's the word I'm looking for? Pretty usable, pretty diverse in their usage. Whatever, doesn't matter. Yeah, so obviously if you're going to have a witchy little cottage, you want it to be pretty overgrown. Obviously your girl or guy, or in between, or above, or outside of all of that gender stuff, would be really into the earth. Because, like, you know, Wicca and witchcraft and all that kind of stuff is all about, like, earth and, like, energies and, like, all that cool stuff. I think it's funny that I don't actually have Realm of Magic, because in high school I definitely 100% wanted to be a witch. Like, that was a high-key goal for me. But I don't know. I don't do a lot of witch gameplay. I don't know. I'll get it eventually. I know I will. I'll have all of the packs eventually. But I just don't have it yet. So it'll be interesting to see how this changes if I do decide to finally download it. Anyway, we are coming up to the end of this build. I will be putting screenshots of all three of the builds at the end of the video so you can take a closer look. But I hope that this helps show you the diversity of building styles and aesthetics that you can use in the base game alone. Of course, utilizing some of the debug objects, but we all know about those by now. And yeah. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope you like this kind of format of video because, as I said in a previous video, I really want to do a little more variety in my channel just to keep my own interest peaked, as well as keeping your interest peaked. Because I love making videos, I love building in The Sims, and yeah, I just want to keep doing it because even if nobody watches it, I have an excellent time on the journey. Yay! Oh, I'm trying to name it. I had a hard time. Anyway, like and subscribe if you want to see more of my weird building and weird rambling, and I hope that you'll come back to see my next video. So have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day, and I love you very, very, very much. Peace. Bye.